If Dungeons & Dragons represents anything, it's finding a tribe amongst the outcasts.
Our main cast of characters are a band of thieves, but they are not bad guys. They uphold this sense of nobility and honor amongst themselves.
It's about a bunch of misfits that are trying to do better and be better.
I think every character is looking for this hero within, but also a new team, a new place to belong.
Because everyone's odd. And the way that you kind of round out that oddness is you party up. You get people to cover your back and show you what you're missing.
The team itself is a group of people that probably don't belong together, that probably shouldn't be together, but that find out that they couldn't do without each other.
It's important to us to create characters who feel relatable. Even though they're of another time and another world, they're imperfect. They make mistakes, they're foolish at times, they're egotistical, but ultimately, they end up doing the right thing. We also approached it from the standpoint you would if you were starting a campaign in the game of D&D.
We're gonna need a team.
Who are your characters, and what's a diverse group of adventurers that gave us a lot of different opportunities for both comedic and action scenarios.
Our protagonist is Edgin Darvis. He's a bard.
The definition from the Dungeons & Dragons game, the bard is the one that inspires hope and courage and people to do their best.
He is a fast thinker, a charmer, and a storyteller.
You may be surprised to learn I wasn't always a thief.
I'm always drawn to characters that think more highly of themselves than perhaps they're seen in the world. He kind of looks like a hero, and you think he should be a hero, and then you scratch a little bit below the surface, and you realize he's, a complete screw-up.
I wouldn't put it like that, but, yeah.
But he's undeniably an optimist.
Yes, that's what I've been saying!
He's kind of like the coach of the Bad News Bears. He's saddled with not the greatest team in the world, but he's going to make them winners regardless.
Aren't you sick of failing? No! We must never stop failing, because the minute we do, we fail.
He will make the best out of any situation. If it means making someone smile or laugh or playing the fool.
Braid.
Chris is incredibly funny. I am surprised that I'd never seen that before in his work, because, man, it's really cool.
What's also funny is he's totally emasculated throughout the film. There's this very unique dynamic between him and Holga, where she is the physical enforcer. He doesn't do any of that.
Oh, we got him now!
And it's not something you often see in a duo like this.
He also plays the lute.
Hogan, not relevant.
Yeah, I think he's the first major character in a movie to have a lute as a weapon, I think. I might be wrong.
I think it was in Lethal Weapon, too. I think the Lethal Weapon was the lute, yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez plays Holga Kilgore, who is a barbarian.
The barbarians are human. They don't have magic. Their power is pretty much their passionate fury. It gives them a superhuman quality, which is above normal, but they're still human.
Holga is a terrific fighter, and we get to see her barbarian rage several times in the film.
I remember, going to John and Jonathan, tell me that, when I turn on the barbarian power, my eyes are gonna light up and we're gonna have, some super fusion moment, And they're like, no. Yeah! It's just an inner passion. And I'm like, what do you mean inner passion? You mean my eyes don't light up, dude?
She's a very earnest person, but that actually lends itself to her being a very funny character.
Holga, I could kiss you!
That's right.
Seeing Michelle and how she played Holga, I can't imagine anyone different.
What a character Holga is, but also what a character Michelle is. She's just pure energy and good fun. I have no energy. I have the energy of a whelk. So, yeah, she's brilliant casting.
She's smashed it. She's just Holga. That's it.
Come on, my love. There are times when I am about to say, hey, Michelle, you sure I can't help?
I'm certain.
You don't have to be so certain. Simon Omar is a half-elf sorcerer from Tribor.
Sorcerer descended from wizarding blood.
he is riddled with insecurity about his magic.
Thank you.
And so he kind of bathes in his own self-deprecation.
I courted you. You said I made you feel sad. Not from anything I did, just from who I was.
What's so great about Justice is that, like, he has this absolute winning, likability. Even when we first meet him, he's pretty pathetic.
No one can hold a candle to this trick.
But there's something so embraceable about this character.
He did a lot with Simon that I just really, really loved. Him creating all of those movements.
What I hate in movies is when people who have magic powers just go like this. So I always try to find like a cool finger thing to do or something. For the cloud spell, I ended up doing kind of like a goop in a pan full of cloud and then like a fire motion, which I thought was interesting. I also always just try to trip up the people in post to see how they're going to CGI the magic around my fingers.
Yeah, I really like Justice. He's a cool dude.
Quite a second date, yeah?
The last member of our core group is Doric, who is a tiefling druid. She's played by Sophia Lillis.
What is a druid? Well, a druid is a class that you can play in D&D. They get their magic from nature, so very natural magic, like turning into animals, which is what my character does, mainly an owlbear, which is pretty cool to turn into.
She's a very unique character. She has this real dry, thoughtful delivery behind things.
The only way to succeed in this is to have confidence that it can be done. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I have this thing, and I don't mean to do it, but when I try to do Doric, I have a very almost judgmental face. Like, that's what she does. She mostly judges every single one of them. And apparently, I do that not shooting, so I just guess I have a very judgmental face. Resting Doric face. I like that. I'm gonna use that. Yeah.
At the same time, I think she also kind of comes under the influence of these band of lunatics, and you start to see her slowly getting on board with their way of thinking and doing things.
Good save. Tieflings usually are kind of loners, but she actually really wants a family, and she becomes closer and actually has this family.
Zank, is it?
And finally, there's Zank Yendar, played by Regé-Jean Page. He's a paladin. He is incredibly noble
and handsome.
Zank is like the perfect man personified.
His walk on water kind of like Jesus vibes. What the heck?
We always talked about the Zank character as if he has walked into the wrong movie. He's from a more serious movie that's shooting on the next stage, and he stumbled into this band of idiots.
He's very much on the straight and narrow path of life. All things are driven by how righteous they are and how good they are.
Edgin, who may like to believe himself to be a great version of the species, then has to encounter the guy that's saving the baby cat.
Go talk to him.
You go talk to him.
It was also kind of fun because, you know, Regé is one of the few men who's arguably better looking than Chris Pine. I mean,
Wow.
I'm not gonna say.
It.
I said
didn't say
arguably.
it.
I said arguably.
I'm going to argue that.
Can someone else ride next to this guy?
And he does it so well. And you have to be the straight man, really, and I get to be the funny man.
I find irony is a blade that cuts he who wields it most especially.
Yeah? Is that what you find, Zank?
That dynamic totally played into the film in such a satisfying way.
I recall the tenets of the ancients.
Okay. See you later.
But likewise, Zank kind of needs the loose improvisational characteristics that Edgin has. So I think they find a way to balance each other, and they express that, as men do, through open aggression.
You may have forsworn your oath, but your oath hasn't forsworn you.
He's a man full of right angles and not so many curves.
Just because that sentence is symmetrical doesn't make it not nonsense.
No, that's not true. It's profound precisely because it's symmetrical.
And to his credit, Regé also really found the core of the character. I mean, he didn't wink at the camera. He just embodies this noble paladin character perfectly.
I will not be complicit in the illicit use of ill-gotten booty.
He kind of comes across as almost perfect, which in itself is an absolute flaw because there's no bending to him.
Talking to you isn't great.
Part of what makes D&D fun and challenging are the limitations that are placed on you. And so you rely on your fellow campaign members to step in and fill in the weaknesses that you have. We tried to give everybody their moment to shine so that there's no one character who's always saving the day.
This film is a lot about the music of the characters. Everybody has their own music. And I really was surprised about how beautifully John and Jonathan had composed this symphony of people.
Everything's complementary because, you know, there's nothing left when you're so different. All you could do is complement each other because, you know what I mean?
You are not able to grow in the same way on your own as you are with these people you trust.
Not fortune found, nor fate divine.
It's about finding out your strengths, finding out your weaknesses, and finding out how working together can enhance and solve all of that.
Cherry crew, we sip and sway. Let's tip the tankard and waste the day. Rerun, well you can, our toils can wait for a time. We saw the folly of men, rather than revel repine.
That's the movie, that's the game, that's the characters. That's Dungeons & Dragons in a nutshell for me.